Calling all nerds. This is More Than Dice, the podcast where we dive deep into the realms of everything nerdy. Whether you're a nerd culture connoisseur, a tabletop titan, a miniature gaming marveler, or just someone who proudly embraces their inner geek, this is the podcast for you. And now here's your hosts, Gonzo, Nerd, and Mizzy.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo.
Nessie.
Nessie.
And that is Nestor. Nerd is off for the weekend. Nestor's going to join us for some good old shenanigans on this podcast. Before the in the pre-ramble, Herblix asked, how do I join in the middle? What the game with Ice Bear? And that is Warcrow. Mizzy will show up the Ice Bear real quick so you can see a picture of it. She's working on her Ice Bear model right now.
He's so pretty.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to be working. She's going to be working on that. I'm going to be working on some cricks. And
I'm working on all my Warcrow stuff because I am an ADHD kid. And paint by color.
So, welcome to the More Than Dice. This episode is sponsored by quite a few people. We want to thank Cuttlefish Colors for providing awesome sketch and glazing colors. Also, really good people. We want to thank Turbo Dork. If you like metallic paint or turbo shifting paint, make sure you go check out Turbo Dork. They have great paints with amazing paint bottles, by the way, if you haven't checked that out. We also want to thank Creature Caster for sponsoring the channel. Check out their My Mini Factory page where you can get a 5th edition module and roughly 10 to 12 models that go with that module each month. They also are the makers of Judgment, which you could find and get that, Judgment the Eternal Champions, and play that game where you need roughly 3 to 7 models to play your game. So make sure you check them out. We have a tradition here. That we find out, do we have any shout outs this week, Mizzy?
We do. I got to pull up my list, though, because I'm a slacker and didn't do that beforehand. I was painting in my defense.
Well, Mizzy's pulling up the list. We definitely want to do a shout out to all the hurricane victims and everything that's been going on there. A lot of people lost a lot of homes. A lot of people, there's a few people that lost their lives, and a big shout out. And hopefully people can get back in better shape soon.
So I know that Ken Page was one of them. He voiced Oogie Boogie.
Okay.
We talk too much, Gonzo.
No, we don't.
In our chat, we do.
You and Nerd talk all the time in our chat. I am just there.
In Gonzo's defense, he's just there.
He's just there.
Lies and slander, but also it's kind of his fault that he got the 2 Chaos Goblins in the same chat.
Guess like hurting cats.
Yeah. It'd be like that. John Amos passed away back in August, but they just announced it the other day. Correct.
For people that don't know, he was the father in Coming in America of the daughter. So that was one of the recent ones.
Pete Smith,
which is
MLB all-time hits leader.
Oh,
baseball player.
Yeah.
And then basketball Hall of Famer Dikembe
Mutombo. Yeah.
I cannot speak, y'all.
No.
And Chris Christopherson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Did we do John Ashton last time?
I don't know if we did or not.
Well, we're throwing him in there too.
Yeah, there was a lot of...
I think that's everybody. There was a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people passed away. A lot of celebrities passed away this last 2 weeks because we weren't on last week, so there was that. Also, a good tradition we have is Mizzy, what are you drinking tonight?
I found a cheap $4 glass bottle of wine at Aldi today, so I am drinking some blueberry wine.
Okay. Nestor,
the
what's your
Rift.
drink of choice?
Right now, it's just a Diet Coke.
Okay.
Nothing great.
I am doing nothing but water. I got a little bit of allergies going on, so I'm just making sure I'm staying good and hydrated so that doesn't turn anything bad because in a couple of weeks we'll be at Warfare Weekend and I want to make sure I'm happy and, healthy, which I need to go get my flu and new COVID booster pretty soon too.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
same.
the thing.
I haven't got my flu shot
Cool.
yet, but guys, as always, please take care of yourself. Please watch after each other. If you see something, say something. If you hear something, say something. If you can do something, do something. If you can't, find somebody that will, because we've got to look after each other. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I just got my approval for my Adepticon classes.
Oh,
Yay!
Yay!
That means you can wish me happy birthday in person.
Yes, I will be at Adepticon. I put my time off for Adepticon and Gen Con the moment I come back from the
Yep.
first Adepticon.
As soon as you're able to.
Right?
So,
Like as
funny
soon as I am.
story. I put my time in for this Warfare weekend last year
Makes sense.
because I wasn't doing a repeat of last year. Last year
I
was
I
ugly.
did as well the moment the dates were announced, and then a wedding happened. So I won't be using my time off.
Damn it, Nestor.
I'm going to go and switch to the paint cam, and then we can get started on everything. 'Cause I got a lot of painting to do for Warfare Weekend, even though Nestor's not going to join us. He doesn't care about us anymore. But um, Nestor,
I am sending the voice of Nestor, Joshua,
not the same.
who will give you hugs and say hi in my name.
But
Not the
will they
same.
be Nessie hugs?
They are because he's cuddly like I am. So yeah, they will be Nessie hugs and spirits.
Nessie hugs and spirits. So Nestor, before we get started, who are you? Why do you have a Nessie Knows channel? Give us the 411.
So that's a damn good question. So over 14 years ago, my daughter's 16, so I started into miniature hobbies 14 years ago into Warhammer 40K. And expanded outward after some time after being disillusioned with Games Workshop. Just so many editions and so many years, just like, all right, I'm done. Moved into Malifaux, and there was a Facebook page there that I was a part of, admin, and I wanted to get the community going. So I would always start with Nessie wants to know, or Nessie wants to know what you're working on, and then it became Nessie Knows. And it's stuck. It's been that way for 12 plus years. Not that I would ever get rid of it. I like it. And so I've been an event organizer for about 13 years. Infinity, Warhammer, Malifaux, just games in general. I do enjoy demos. I do enjoy just getting the people together and just having a fun time.
Playing games, nerding out.
Nerding out, yeah. Hobby,
Causing
painting.
shenanigans.
Yeah, no, not me. I don't call shenanigans. They call shenanigans.
You participate in shenanigans.
I might. Just a
You
little bit.
enable others to have
Yes, I'm an enabler. I'm an enabler of shenanigans. That is way better. It's a lot more fun and plausible deniability. I teach classes now. I teach Gundam mostly. I used to teach painting classes, but it's not a bad thing. It's just painting is so saturated with such great artists and painters. It's like a trout moving up stream. It's very difficult.
Oh yeah, and the thing is all the good painters teach now at conventions, and it's crazy.
Right, and I'd rather teach something that you're not going to find at your normal convention. So Gundams, I love Gundams. Been building Gundams for 7+ years. I have the backlog to show for it. COVID was really good for me because I could build during the week, but when I come home, I'm just too tired. Gundams are very distinct. And then and just recently I've been getting back into Infinity and Warcrow and the new game Steel Rift, and just getting back into being an event organizer as well as just an overall player.
Okay. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, and because I know that you went to Gen Con this year, right?
Yes.
And did you teach at Gen Con?
I did. I actually run the teaching room for Lynn during Gen Con, so it's my big thing.
So I got a question for that because I was looking at some of the pictures. Is it just one giant room that everybody teaches in?
It is a huge ballroom. Probably half the size of the event, the tabletop event area at Warfare Weekend. So just cut that in half.
Okay.
Maybe three quarters actually. And there's 14 tables, anywhere holding between 12 to 20 students, depending on the table size.
So it's an open air, not like at Warfare Weekend where we do individual rooms. It's open air.
Correct. It's open air. It's brightly lit, but yeah, it's 14 tables, and you're almost on top of each other. It used to be 13 tables, but they squeezed in a new table this year.
Because I saw the picture and I was like, do they have open air, classrooms? And I was like, how loud is it in there? Just curious.
Depending on when you teach. If you're teaching early morning or late evening after 5 o'clock, not so much. You don't have to scream. You don't really have to scream anyway. I think the way they set up the tables in a U-shaped format, as long as you have a strong voice, you can teach without having to scream very loud or use like a microphone of some sort.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like Lynn, Kevin, a couple others, they have a strong voice, and Kevin Fannin, he goes nonstop. I think he does like 13, 14 classes during the whole weekend, and he Iron Man through him, and his voice isn't shot by the end of he's tired, but his voice is not gone.
Yeah, I just saw that and I was like, man, that looks like it would be a pain in the buttocks to do.
It's a lot. Even when I'm teaching my classes, it's about 15 to 20 students, depending on which class, but it can be a lot. Especially when you do so many in a row. I think I've done 3 in a row at Gen Con most. And by the end of the third one, I just want to go in a corner and just collapse.
Valid.
So you must make like millions of dollars doing this, right?
Yeah, yet I still live in a 2-bedroom apartment in Yonkers. Yeah. I use all my money on 3D printers.
What? We would never do that.
No, we wouldn't. Not one bit.
So, all right. Well, I mean, I met you, of course, through Lynn, I think is what it was, is when we first met. It was Adepticon?
Adepticon, and then it's been nonstop since.
Yeah. And you and I have collaborated on a bunch of different things, and we've talked about a bunch of different things. So, we've become fast friends, as nerds do when they find people that, meld well together. So,
Exactly.
we've just been there. So I appreciate it. But one of the things that we brought you on here is there's a new game on the market, created by Ash Barker and what's the other group that he's working with on this?
So Ash wrote the game, and Death Ray Designs produces the game.
Correct, Death Ray Design. I couldn't remember them, which I've worked with them a little bit before, also for Warfare Weekend, and they've done like some prize support and such. So, and we've had some of their terrain at Warfare Weekend. So,
Yep.
All cool and dandy. But this is a new game. I've seen it on the market. I haven't bought it. I didn't get into it. I haven't done anything. So I was like, oh, I know someone that has. Let's see if we can get Nestor on to talk about it. So give us the lore, and then we'll talk about gameplay.
Sure. So Steel Rift is a 6mm miniatures game.
How many millimeters?
6mm, so BattleTech size.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's based in the distant future, or not so distant future, depending on how we go from here.
Okay.
Where where energy is oil and such is almost a commodity. It's almost running out. So the corporations and the government decide to make a Dyson sphere around the sun. So for those non-sci-fi or science nerds, for me, because I had to look up what a Dyson sphere is. It is basically an energy conduit built around the sun that harnesses the energy from the sun in batteries, and basically you mine the sun's energy and you give it out. Now the good thing is that the sun freely gives that energy, and of course the corporation does not freely give away that energy. But the sun, being the finical little, you know,
Some that it
solar
is.
system, solar battery that it was, said no, I don't want that, and had like a kind of explosion, a solar explosion that caused the Dyson sphere to stop working, and all the energy that the government and the corporations and even the, the normal Joe Schmoes were using to stop coming in, and the Dyson sphere is now not working. And now there is a huge argument on how do we get the energy on Earth, on Mars, on different parts of the solar system, and the government is telling the Joe Schmoes, you need to do this so we can get the energy. The regular workers are like, to hell with you, we're not doing that. And the corporation's like, but if we do this, we'll gain more profit. So there's three factions in the game. Really, not really factions, but more like entities. Because you could be a corporation and still be a Joe Schmo that got caught on Mars and now you're stuck there.
Okay.
And so that's where we're at in the lore of it. And there's a big difference in terms of what the corporation mechs can do and what the authority, which is known as the government, can do, and what the freelancers or the workers can do. So they're using like mining robots compared to the corporation's nice and shiny robots, and the authority with the government has like these. They look like police. They look like police cars with legs.
Okay.
Honestly. So yeah, that's the breakdown of the game as it is right now.
Okay. Would you say that there's any good guys or versus bad guys type thing?
No.
Or just, everybody's fucked. Everybody's corrupt.
Everybody's corrupt. Because you could be so there's three factions. So there's the authority, the corporations, and the freelancers. And the freelancers are your standard workers. The authority is the government, the corporation are the corrupt corporations. The freelancers could be a mafia controlled family out to get the energy from the corporation. So there's really no good or bad. The corporations could be a nice corporation that could just be trying to give stuff out, and they at the same time just trying to make a buck. So it's really depending on how you create your army per se.
Okay.
All right. And what's the battlefield like?
So it could be played on a 3x3. 8 to 9 pieces of terrain. So 6mm pieces of terrain. So I do have an example. So like this is just like a tall building in the game that I printed out. But then you can use BattleTech terrain. That's 6mm. As long as you have a good number of blocking and cover terrain.
Okay. And played on 3x3, you said?
Plays on a 3x3. There is no range on most weapons. So if you have line of sight and you have a railgun has infinite range. You hit.
Or
Like
you
there's
can
no
try to hit.
rolling. No, there's no trying to hit. There's you auto hit. Everybody auto hits.
Okay.
But what you do gain from the game is covers from damage. So a railgun is minimum 1 die. Every game, every weapon has a minimum of 1 damage. So if cover reduces it to 0, you still roll 1 die. It's a D6 system, and depending on the size of the mech, it's better save. So a smaller mech will make a 3+ save. A medium-sized mech will be 4+. A big chunky robot will be 5, and the massive robot is 6. So just because the massive robot hits harder, he's also easier to hit.
Okay.
But range range doesn't really play into effect. Cover and upgrades on your mech can help reduce damage even further. So, and there's not a lot of OP weapons per se. Anything that does a lot of damage uh, normally has a keyword called light, where for every 2 damage you only do 1. They're good against like support vehicles or support infantry, which you can have in the game.
Okay.
But it can get really fast because the lighter, the smaller mechs go faster. Even if you paint them red, uh, but they can go faster, and you can do what's called a move and a jump action. So depending on what you're armed with, you can actually get in somebody's face by turn 1 if they're deployed properly.
Okay, so do you roll any dice whatsoever in the game?
You do.
Besides
So,
saves.
Saves you roll for if you get hit with a kinetic weapon, you can spin them.
Okay.
You can turn them around and then hitting them on the side or back. The more you spin them.
So it has
Internal.
arcs.
Yeah, it does have arcs. Front 180 arc. If you get hit with a kinetic weapon and you're equal size, you roll a d6, and on a 4 up, you turn them 45 degrees.
Okay.
And each base has a notch on it, so you can determine 45 degrees really easily.
Gotcha. No problem. This is not played
And
on a
then
hex, right? It's played with tape measures.
no, it's played on straight mat,
Okay.
3x3 mat, which is fine. I demo on a 2x2 mat yesterday, and just so it goes a lot faster.
Yeah.
But a 3x3 is just as fast, depending on what you're using. So mostly what you're most dice rolls are for saves, but there are other options.
Are you just using D6s?
Just D6s.
Okay.
So when you buy your mech, it has a certain tonnage. So a light mech is 10 tons. You have up to 10 more tons to fulfill it with upgrades. So you buy your weapons, you buy your upgrade packets like optic camouflage, jump jets. You can increase the armor. You can strip the armor to make your mech a little faster or get more space for upgrades.
Okay. So you can do customization of your mechs.
Correct. You buy
Okay.
when you buy your mech, it's basically just clean. There's nothing on it, and then you can add a rail gun, a arc cannon, a shot cannon. Sorry. And just depends on.
Are you buying? So you're buying a chassis, and then you're outfitting that chassis with a certain thing.
Correct.
Okay.
And you can outfit them with a plasma sword, a combat shield.
Oh, you can actually do
So
melee damage in this?
Yes. Melee can be very damaging actually because melee not only hits your armor but also your internal workings.
Okay.
So yesterday in one of the demos, one of the guys got really close to me, and he did so much damage it almost wiped me out in one shot.
Good. I think melee should be that. Melee should be super deadly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In a mech
melee
game.
Right, because it's just the timing. You get bonuses for jumping into combat. If you're heavy, armored, you can have including more damage. So this is the guy that jumped into combat.
I like that sword. That's cool.
That is cool.
That's so that guy is a close shooter. He's a gunslinger, so he's got rules for shooting in close range and also close combat.
Question for you. I know we'll probably get this later, but it kind of got me going. Is the game WYSIWYG?
No.
Okay, so you don't have to buy multi parts to play whatever you want.
No, you don't even have to use their models. You can use if you got BattleTech models, you can use BattleTech models.
Okay, so the models they have are just because they can sell them, but you could use whatever you wanted.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And they even have a pack you can buy from their store that will convert the hex bases and you can magnetize them to their 40mm bases.
Okay.
That they use.
Okay. I like that you have options.
Yeah, you have options. You can also print the bases as well. So if you have extra BattleTech that aren't on bases, like some people print their own BattleTechs. It's like I mentioned and Gonzo asked, they're not WYSIWYG. If you write on the sheet, it has this gun, and this jump pack. That's what it has.
Okay. For people who don't know, it's what you see is what you get for some of us old schoolers.
I thought that's what you were saying, but I was gonna ask in a minute.
Yeah, what you see is what you get.
It's an old school term that they used to do very heavily on. I think they still do it on 40K tournaments.
Yeah, 40K is still mandatory, but it used to be if you see a cannon, that's what it has.
Yeah.
And some games still do that. I mean, War Machine is what you see is what you get, type thing. But there's very little to no customizations for War Machine stuff. So
right, units in War Machine. If it's a gun mage, it's a gun mage. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what he has.
Yeah.
I think and most warjacks are the only ones that have a difference.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna yell at you if you tell me that Gargantuan has this weapon and you put the wrong weapon on it. I'm not gonna yell at you.
No. Especially friendly fun games. I don't give a shit.
Correct. Yeah.
So okay. So you buy a chassis, then you buy the outfit of what you want that thing to do. What is a standard point size game?
So they range between 100 to 200 points. 100 being a good starter scenario.
Okay.
200 seems to be right now where everything is at. And then there's a campaign mode where you use 300 points, so you have backup support vehicles or chassis that you can just buy, or in case they get damaged during the campaign.
Gotcha.
But 200, a standard game is 200 points.
Gotcha. How long does the game last? How long is this 200?
Honestly, they last about an hour at most. Once
you get fast?
They're pretty fast. It's more of what the scenario is, but also how the depth of the rules that you're playing. So there's not a lot of rules to begin with unless the weapons have a rule that you haven't played before. So one of them, like frag. The shotgun has a rule called frag. So your normal save, instead of being 4 or 5, is now 1 worse. So now it's a 5 or 6.
Gotcha.
So depending on the rules that you're using, if you're just using the standard rules, probably hour and a half.
Okay.
It's pretty fast paced.
Now they do have their own miniature lines, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And how are they? Plastic, resin print?
So they're ABS print.
Okay.
So they're printed, I guess, through they're 3D printed, so they're 3D printed through. Don't know what printers they're using, but they're ABS print. So
they're ABS resin printed.
Right, ABS resin print. So here's an example of one. The one I showed you is printed that way. And same for this guy.
Do they sell STLs?
For the bases and for the terrain, yes, but for the models, no, not as of yet.
I know that's going to be asked eventually because that's like the big kicker now. Oh, they're 3D printing stuff. Do they have the STL? Do we get to have the STL?
Right. Yeah. Their first starter was the one that was released in 2022. When it first came out, wasn't really well known. Had six models, 3 of one faction, 3 of another, or you can use all 6 for one faction if you wanted. And they had all the weapons, all the upgrades, but no starter rules. And they fixed that with the current version, which is half the price, so it's $40 or $45. It comes with the starter rules. It comes with 2D terrain. The models are already printed. The only thing you need to put are the weapons, and you don't even need to do that because it's not WYSIWYG. So you can play with no weapons and just the robots themselves on the bases, and that's it. So in 20 minutes, you can start playing the game.
Gotcha.
How many models is it?
6 models, 3 for one faction, 3 for another.
How many models are you typically playing in a game?
So the starter has 3. That's 90 points. You can probably do another 2 to 3, depending on how big the mechs are, as well as like little support robots, little support vehicles, off-board. Like you could buy an orbital laser for 10 points.
Yeah.
So that's 100 points right there. You could do 2 more heavies at 50 points. 20, 30. So you could do 2 ultra heavies at big, kind of like colossal size. They're a little bigger. They're 50 points each. So there you go. You have 5 models and an orbital laser on the board. It just really depends on
how you build it.
How you build it, but yeah, but you're looking at like six or so models roughly.
Yeah, 6 or so models. The actual starter boxes for a lot of these are 7 models, and that's 2 lights, so that's 40 points. 2 mediums, that's 60 points, so that's 100 right there. 1 heavy, and 1 ultra heavy. So you're looking at that box is like 200 points right there.
Okay.
That's 6 models, 6 or 7 models. Sorry, I think it's 2 heavy, so it's a little over 200 points. You can mix match how you feel.
Correct. Yeah, but I mean, for the most part, you're not playing with 20, 30 models. It's like 6 to 8 or somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, even at if you did all lights at 20 points each, that's 10 models.
Gotcha.
At max. So yeah, but again, lights, while they're super fast, don't have a lot of armor. And if you're going against somebody that has a lot of weapons or has some sort of ability, they're gonna knock you off the table.
Yeah.
Fair.
You're gonna get punked.
And just like the current, like every iteration, there's upgrades. So the first upgrades, they did multi-limb, like spider legs and treads for the legs for the first expansion. The second expansion, they went to close combat weapons, upgrades, and rules for like assassinations and different upgrades on weapons. And coming down the line is a multi-Coliseum type expansion, so you can have multiplayer. And then hopefully tanks and VTOLs, so helicopters and hover jets in the future.
I wanted to bring something to notice because I'm dry brushing these Mechathrall swarms. So this is the shamans from the bulwarks, from the troll bloods, the frogs.
Yeah.
This is a Mechathrall swarm. Look how tiny this boy is. It's going to be so weird because everything that I've played with or anything I've built has been really big models until now, and all these Mechathrall Swarms models are super, super tiny and super thin.
Yeah, they're still 30 mil, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. They're still the same base. Like here's Kruger next to the Mechathrall. So it's just everything that I've been playing with and building lately has been big base stuff, and then I'm like, where the hell did this guy come from?
I'm kind of been keeping around 40 to 30 mil. Like I haven't done anything major in a while, so I think when I start doing like a major, like a war jack in the future, I'm gonna be throwing off my game.
Yeah. So, all right. So tell us gameplay, round by round, etc., etc.
Alternating activation. You
Good.
you roll for setup. So the board, you roll for mission, you roll for deployment, deployment of terrain as well. So you basically set up the table. 8 to 9 pieces of terrain. Keep it simple on a 3x3. So there will be open lanes if you're not careful. Um, unless you have one of those weapons that has very short range, which can happen.
Terrain does certain things like forest
Terrain
XYZ.
block. So if a weapon has like 4 damage, um, and you're shooting through terrain, you're reducing the damage by 1. And if you're in cover where I don't see both sides of your base, um, it reduces it by 2. So now you go from 4 to 3 or 4 to 2 damage.
And does is there like a rough terrain equivalent or whatever
Yeah,
that
so
slows
you
you
can
down?
go through. Yeah, and it slows your speed by half. So
Gotcha.
every inch you need to get through, you need to take 2 or so on.
Gotcha.
Which can be good and bad. But you can buy jump jets to ignore that. You can go over the terrain.
Gotcha.
I haven't seen a rule yet where it says you jump over, you have to have a certain height limit. So when you jump over terrain, you're jumping over terrain.
Okay, so it's
You
not like
can
saying you can only jump over size 1 building, size 2 building.
correct,
Gotcha.
correct. As
Okay.
of yet, that I haven't seen. And a guy was doing a demo and he jumped on top of a terrain piece and I jumped on top of it right after, and we had a fight on top of the building.
Gotcha.
I'm
I
here
don't know
for
if
it.
there's I was hoping that you can shove him off, but you can do that with certain melee weapons like an impact hammer. You can actually push your opponent off. So I think it would have been funny.
No fall damage though.
No, not as of yet. I think it's still growing as a game. Uh, that could just be added on later if they did decide to do that.
Okay.
You also can't push anyone off unless you have that specific weapon. So it's very, I guess it's more like uh, timing, I guess, but something I can bring up to them like, hey, what happens if he falls off?
Do um do you get bonuses for being on higher ground or anything like that?
Nope. They keep
Okay.
it very simple in terms of like shooting and
Okay.
reducing cover and reducing damage and gaining dice. If I shoot you on your side, I gain 1 die for damage. If I shoot you in the back, I gain 2. But um, depending on what level of
Weapon and stuff.
mecha you are and what
Gotcha.
weapon, the weapons can do basically a lot of damage or no damage if you're really bad with dice. But that's what it is. It's a dice game. So
So you're rolling to damage, not rolling to hit.
correct. And the damage is basically rolled. The damage saves are rolled by the one getting shot at. So if I'm shooting Mizzy with 5 damage, she just rolls, and it's a light mech, and there's specific damage table. So a light mech is 3, medium is 4, heavy is 5, ultra heavy is 6. So if I'm shooting you and you're a light mech, you need 3 plus. You're a space marine. Um,
Okay.
Makes
What
sense.
is scenario play or what are the
so
scenarios
like
like?
so scenarios are very similar to Infinity in terms of objectives. You can do direct damage plays. You can do uh, most points in a quarter. So they just range in very similar to Infinity, very similar to War Machine for objectives and for taking over a quarter of a table.
So go grab objectives, hold them.
Correct. Have more tons on the have more points of models on an objective. Open the objective, take the objective back to home base. Gotcha. Take your opponent's objective, destroy your opponent's objective. And the campaign, there's more points if you're playing a scenario and you win. However many points you scored gets you future points to buying more mech or more upgrades for your mechs. Yeah. And so on.
Is there a certain set of tournament rules, or is it just open rules, period?
So right now, the tournament packets are being developed by Death Ray Designs. They've actually taken over fully the writing of the game. Ash is now just like, oh, I can review the game and have a separate set of eyes on this. So Death Ray Designs is now just doing the rules. They're going to hopefully make a one book for all. Right now they have 3 mini rule books, but they're hoping to do one big rule book in the future, as well as more quick builds, because the ones that I showed you are all quick build. You don't have to do anything. You just open up the box, put them on the base, and you can run them as is. And they're really good for starting the game. They're about $35-$40. While the bigger faction boxes are like $90, but they have 7 resin printed models, so I could see where it's kind of expensive to start. But if you want to get something small to the point, they have those, and they're going to do more of those in the future.
But being miniature agnostic, we could print or use our BattleTech miniatures and still play the game.
Correct, and that's the other thing is, like, as much as I would love for you guys to buy all the models from Death Ray Designs, if you tell me I have 7 models, they're all BattleTech, and I put them on the Steel Rift bases, go for it. The tournament pack that they wrote for Nova was very scenario driven, and I can see that going in the future as well.
Okay. Let's see, what else I can think of. What about sorry, my hand's getting all gross. Since it's miniature agnostic and you can buy the miniatures, what do you think about the miniature prints and everything so far?
The prints have been good. I only had one misprint, and they were shocked when I opened it up at Nova and it was a misprint. But again, they're in North Carolina, so they're quick on sending you replacements if they need to. But I've opened up 7 other boxes, no misprints. The models look phenomenal. I don't know much on that type of 3D printing, but the detail is really good for that quality of 3D printing. I don't know other. I think Ravage Star is probably it's on par with Ravage Star. So if you have any of the Ravage Star miniatures, they're really nicely done.
Don't have any of them. Although I will be getting a demo of that at Warfare Weekend from More Budgies.
Nice.
We're trading demos. He's getting a demo of Warcrow, and I'm getting a demo of Ravage Star.
Nice.
That is why I am frantically painting my northern tribes, so War Budgies can use them.
Yeah, the Ravage Star, like the miniatures have been really good. Even the all-in-one printed ones, you don't have to put any pieces to them. They're all printed that way, and they come out phenomenal. And then if you buy any of the single blisters, their arms, legs, and body, and you just glue them on and you're done.
Just glue them on and be done.
Yep.
I like this guy. By the way, me.
Which was that one?
He got big old claws. He's like, rah, rah,
rah.
Like he's dancing or something. Sorry.
Got a little dance machine.
Us get sidetracked? What? No.
No, that doesn't happen.
Nerds. Sidetrack. Okay. How's the demos been? I know you said you've done a couple of demos. How's the um reaction from people playing the demo?
They love it, and the main reason is because how fast the game seems. Not that it isn't fast. It's just the way I give the demo. By the end of the first round, they have already picked up the rules. They're ready to just keep going, and then we keep going until the demo ends. Um, and there is depth in the rules, but it's not where it gets super complicated. Like I hold Infinity very high in the complication of the rule set.
Oh yeah.
Not a bad thing, but it's very hard if you don't if you miss a rule or you forget a rule, it's possible. In here, it's very quick. The beginner starter box has all the rules you're going to need for that, and what each weapon does and what each rule for that weapon does. And you can start from there. And as you buy more boxes or you buy the rule book, you can start expanding on the rule set. But one thing that Austin, the owner of Death Ray Designs, mentioned was if you have the multi-limbed spider robots and you just want to use them as single bipedal robots, go for it. You're not stuck on using, like you said, WYSIWYG. It's not WYSIWYG when it comes to it. You want to use them as regular robots with two legs, use them as regular robots with two legs. You don't the depth of the rule set is up to the players. So if you're playing at home on a kitchen table, it won't matter. And an event, yeah, again, that's a tournament level event. Sure, I could see them, but it's very easy to pick up the game, and the demos have been very good. Uh, did 4 demos yesterday, and then played 2 games with Josh to get the rules a little further down. He's ready to go. I think he's ready to go. Once he comes back from Warfare Weekend, he's all mine.
Well, I mean, then he's just gonna stomp your ass, right?
Yep. Yeah, he is. He's gonna be like, I've been holding back for too long.
Well, we got a little bit of time left before we have to get to the media section. Let's go ahead and talk about one cost before we get to your Gunpla. Cost. If I were to buy their miniatures and 2-player starter set, just so I could learn to play the game and so on and so forth, how much am I going to be in?
The new quick build starter, $40.
Okay, that's not bad. Now, how many models is that?
That's 3 models, 6 models total, 3 for each side. The laminated rules for each side. So it'll tell you what their weapon loadout comes with. 2D terrain, an objective marker, and starter rules, as well as the weapons that you can outfit the robots for.
Okay. So $40 for 6 models and the rules. Are the rules free online?
No, not these. I think it's $10 or $15 on Drive Through RPG if you want the PDF.
That's still not bad. $10 to $15 is not bad.
Yeah, if you want the regular book, you can also just buy the book online from them, and it's $15.
Okay.
And that's the starter rule set. But out the box, you don't need to get the rule book really per se, because the rule book in the box gives you enough to get started first. So you can play like 5 or 6 games, and you're like, okay, what am I missing? Now it's time to get the rule book.
Okay. And if I want the whole shebang, rule book, models, blah blah blah.
So if you got the starter the starter quick build book, yeah, you got the starter quick build box, which is 40, 15 for the rule book, and maybe an ultra heavy on each side, or a couple of other probably less than $100.
That's still not bad.
Yeah, because the ultra heavies are about $20 each, 20 to 25. And everything's on a 40 mil base, which has knots at like every 90 degrees. So when you turn, you can find out where you're turning at what angle.
Gotcha.
So starter box for starter to get you going, less than $100. and you'll be good for a while, and then you can add more models as you want. You could buy chassis online. If you have extra arms, if you bought any of the older starter boxes that are like $90, they come with everything, extra arms, extra weapons. You can actually buy chassis and actually just expand further. Um, you can buy melee weapons, you could buy more weapon packets, you could buy chassis, tokens. They go all out. Like I said, like you said also, if you have BattleTech miniatures that look something similar to what you want to run, throw them on the base. You'll be good to go.
Okay. So let's talk about Gunpla, the one thing that you know very little about because you've
I
never
know
done
nothing
it
about
before.
it. Nope, nothing.
Let's talk about Gunpla. Gunpla is simple, easy to the point. It is robot models that you build, correct?
So, yeah, correct. So Gunpla are short for Gundam Plastic, I like to call it. They're on runners, or like people call sprue. So if you've been playing 40K, or even build Star Wars Legion or Shatterpoint, they're all on sprues. You build the parts together, and it forms a giant 6-inch robot that you can put on a shelf like I do here.
You mean you don't have a miniature game to go with it?
I don't, but I think Ash wrote a game for it.
There's a lot of
I
people.
think he wrote Gamma Wolves, which is also miniature agnostic, but it's mecha battle. A lot of people use Gundams, which is cool. But yeah, I teach Gundam classes at Gen Con and now at Adepticon, and Warfare Weekend. Not this Warfare Weekend, but
Yeah, I think so. I
Yes.
think someone took your Gundam class at Warfare Weekend and still has not finished that Gundam.
Shut your face, Gonzo.
Shout it out. That was 2 years ago.
I know.
You finish it by year end?
No.
And you finish it by next year end?
Maybe.
If you finish it, I'll send you another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. Tell Gonzo to quit giving me work to do. That's my story.
No,
Lies.
I'm not gonna buy that one.
That's my story. It is partially his fault. It's also partially I just forgot about it.
All right. All right. Now I'm gonna bug you. Be like, hey, did you finish that Gundam? Which one was that? Was that the Barbatos?
It's
No,
blue and black. I don't
it's
know
the
which
vendor.
one it is.
Which one? Which one is it, Gonzo?
The vendor one, the one you used to teach with.
For Vidar? Oh
Yeah, the
man,
Vidar.
that's the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 3 years. Never mind. That's 3 years.
Yeah. I'm the worst. I know. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I can't blame you because I lost, not lost. A lot of my Gundams got damaged on the move when I moved into this apartment, because that's on me. I just put them in a box, and then the box got squished when moving, and I just threw it away. So I rebuilt the ones that got squished, and one of them was the Vidar, and that's still pending. It's still waiting for me to be. And that was the first hit.
That's
So
fair.
if I finish it before you do, I'm just
I
gonna
will.
take pictures.
I will accept my fate for whatever that is.
And they're gonna make a master grade of it too. I can't
I
wait.
saw that.
Thank you, Shadow Sword. I'm glad somebody loves me.
I just know that you took the class to learn, and you still have the model unfinished somewhere.
It's halfway done. I know exactly where it's at. It's halfway done. It is actually underneath my desk in my little ottoman thing that I use for a footrest.
At least you know where it is.
Exactly. And I've gone through 2 moves since then, so
It's not bad. Yeah. So I've actually added. I'm almost up to like 100 models in backlog. I just keep buying. I can't. It's not that I don't want to build them. It's just, oh, this is out. That's cool. Let me buy it. And then I'm like, oh, when am I gonna have time to build it?
Never.
Never.
Time? What is time?
After time.
Fleeting.
Time is an illusion.
But I'm looking forward to more Gundams coming out real soon.
What's the main one that you're looking forward to? Do you like have a
March.
list?
March is when. Oh wait, what was the question again?
The next one you're looking forward to. Next
Oh,
Gundam.
the Vygar. The next. Then convention.
No, Gundam. Next
Gundam.
Gundam.
Sorry, getting a little confused. So it's definitely the Master Grade Vidar. March. It's like Warfare. It's like Adepticon, and then the Vidar, and then I'm done. Okay. So it's a hiding for a month.
Fair.
Yeah, I got a lot of Master Grades I should build, and a couple of Macross kits. Like this YF-19.
Yeah, I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to build myself. I did that second party one that is like super, super big and super huge. So I'm waiting to. I'm working on that one.
So right here is my first perfect grade that I bought. That's my goal for like to have it built by Gen Con, so I could show it to the students of like, here's a high grade, real grade, master grade, perfect grade.
Well, I got that third party one, and I can tell so far the difference between a second party and an actual Gundam.
Yes,
the parts aren't engineered as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, it could be the same designer for a lot of Gundams, but they skimp on certain parts.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Because I've got, like I said, I got 5 that I need to build.
Does that include the one Nestor gave you a couple Warfare weekends ago?
No, someone saw that and they were like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's a Gundam model," and he's like, "Cool." And so I gave it, and then I bought another one. I gave that to somebody.
No. So technically, no.
No, because you gave me one of the lower versions of Barbos or whatever, Barbados or what it is.
It was the high grade of Barbatos. Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought a better grade.
You bought the master grade?
Yeah, I think I bought the master grade and gave them the high grade.
That's
like,
fine. That's like the entry. Like here, the first one's free.
Yep.
Now the next one is like.
It's like crack. It's like drugs.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, because at Gen Con that has happened where I will teach a class. There's a couple of booths that sell Gundams, and then the students will come back to me. Look what I bought, and they'll buy like 4 or 5 high grades or a master grade and a perfect. I got one student buy a perfect grade at the convention. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done a perfect grade. I've got that perfect grade over there. Let's see if you can see it. Now you really can't see it. But it's a red frame.
Oh, the red frame, nice.
Yeah, perfect grade. Because I was like, all right, it's a perfect grade. Let me try this out. It took forever to build because it's just so detailed and it's huge.
Yeah.
And that's what this third party one. It's like a perfect grade because it's going to be huge, and the entire internal frame is complete metal and plastic.
Is that the Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really sweet.
Yeah, it looked really cool. I was like, that looks really cool. I want that on my shelf.
I bought the Glory, and it's considered a master grade. I just don't know, but I've heard good things about the Glory as a.
Yeah, there's had a lot of good reviews too. So I was like, okay, I can deal with it. And it wasn't as expensive as a perfect grade or Gundam, a Gundam perfect grade. So I was like, okay, yeah. I can use this money to buy it.
It's like half the price.
Yeah,
it's the price of the master grade, but it's a little better.
Yeah, it's interesting how cheap some of that stuff is when you get rid of the Gundam name off of it. Type thing.
It dropped in price almost ridiculously.
Yeah. So, other than that, it is now our media section time. For those who don't know, this is our media section where we talk about either movies we've watched, TV shows, etc., etc. And we give it a rating system. There are 2 rating systems for us. You can either say A, it's as close to Casablanca, which near perfect movie, or Cats, which is the worst movie ever made. Or you can give it our space herpes rating. The fewer space herpes, the better, because we all know space herpes are bad for you. So I'll go ahead and start off so we can give you a good thing. So this week I have been just catching up on shows and everything. And if you're not watching Penguin on Max right now, which is based off the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, it is actually right after the Batman movie, so you're not missing anything. And it's Colin Farrell playing Penguin, and one doesn't look like Colin Farrell. The prosthetics they got on him are amazing. They don't look fake. Do what?
The prosthetics are chef's kiss.
Yeah, they don't look fake. It looks amazing. If you like a good mobster TV show set in the Batman universe with the Penguin, where he's a complete psycho, this is for you. This is a good show. It's a good mobster. It's good tie-in. It's realistic Batman based off, the original movie. And I've been having a blast with it. I'm only 3 episodes in right now, but it's been really good right now. No full rating yet because we're not done with the season. I think it's going to be a one-off season, which is good. No problem with that. And then I'll give a full rating. But so far, half a space herpy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, it's a really good show.
I've only watched one episode.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Mizzy?
So because Eric and I watched episode 1 of The Penguin, we went back and watched the entirety of 3 hours of The Batman today. I was a little sleepy during the first half, not first half, but the first hour. But I finally actually woke up and she gave me the too long didn't read of the important parts of it. But the last 2 hours I can talk about. I enjoyed it a lot. Robert Pattinson gets a lot of shit for being in Twilight, but he's a damn good actor, actually.
He is.
So I was really impressed with it. And I was like, oh damn, he's actually kind of hot in his emo boy hair phase, standing stuff, shirtless in that scene. Damn, okay. Not mad about it. But yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. And now I'm definitely going to watch The Penguin to get more action on that.
I'm hoping they do have some cameos with Batman in there, or cameos from the, maybe from the movie in the TV show. You don't have to be anything big, but maybe tease or whatever. Or at the end of Penguin, Batman shows up or something. I hope they do something like that. Or Gordon, something like that.
Gordon, how can there be crime going on in Gotham without Gordon? He's not commissioner yet, but
he is a staple.
Yeah. So what do you give Batman?
I'm gonna give it a 1. I really like the story of it and everything, and I'm really looking forward to more of it.
Yeah,
they're coming out with a second one.
Yep, they are coming out with a second.
I really liked the very end with that whole scene with the Joker and Riddler. That was pretty good. Excited.
Yeah. Nestor, what's your first one?
So mine, I actually saw the remake of Salem's Lot this week.
Oh.
And it was actually I'm a big Stephen King fan. His movies get crapped on. It's not his fault, just sometimes the movies don't work. The miniseries for It or the original Stand when they first came out in the early 90s, those were great, but the movies don't always come out great. But Salem's Lot, I love the book. I love the original movie. I think it's Rob Lowe was in, or it was Rob Lowe was in the remake. mini series on ABC back in the days. So it's got a long history, and this one was good. It wasn't perfect, but it was very faithful to the movie, the book in some ways. In some ways, it wasn't, but that's just the director and the writers. You can't do always an exact. But I enjoyed it, and I actually went back and saw the original movie as well because it's also on Max. So I got both versions of Salem's Lot. I might go back and read the book again. It actually opened me up to that. Is it super scary? No. Does it have some jump parts? Yes. So you know if you're into spooky season, which some people are, me included, as a good vampire, go for it. Some people just aren't into that. Uh, Ace Herbie's probably 1.5 because it wasn't
I've got that
exactly
on my
perfect.
list, so it makes it good that it'll be worth watching.
Yeah, it's one of those worth watching. Get some popcorn, have a seat, enjoy the movie, and call it a night.
Gotcha. I did. There was a series on Netflix called Culinary Class, and it's a cooking competition where they take semi-amateur cooks against professional cooks, and they have to do these competitions. And it's a cooking show. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. 100% cooking show. But they do like weird stuff. They start off with like 100 amateur cooks and drop them down to like 20, and then they make them do weird, cooking competitions after that. Like a restaurant war type thing. But there's all these different stuff, and it was pretty interesting. I enjoy cooking competition shows anyway because I'm a big foodie, so I like to see the food that people make and how they do and what they do with it and the twists. And I would have not thought of doing that. Um, so I thought it was very interesting for a cooking competition. I hope we have more because it was enjoyable. It was very entertaining. Overall, I really can't rate this too much because it is a competition series, but um, it was interesting enough that I would be happy for another season. So I'd give it like a 0. That it wasn't boring and slow, but it's very interesting on Korean shows. And now we'll review the scores. No, new camera angle. And now we'll review the scores. New camera angle. And now we'll review the scores. And you're like, why do we say it 2 or 3 times? I have no clue. But that's, here nor there type thing.
It's like Iron Chef America where they'll do like the secret ingredient. They'll do like 5 different versions of when they reveal the secret ingredient.
Yeah. It's like secret ingredient,
Like,
secret ingredient, secret ingredient, secret ingredient.
no, just tell me what the secret ingredient is.
Yeah.
Like,
No, we gotta be dramatic about it.
But
they would always come up with you.
it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. Mizzy?
Of course, we have been fulfilling our weekly duties of watching Agatha all along.
Yep.
Nice.
Holy shit. They dropped a bomb on us this episode, and I'm here for it. And the music choices that they made, perfection. I'm excited to see what happens. And I'm still enjoying it.
That's what I like about Agatha is that the change is like it's kind of like a time change, kind of like what they did in WandaVision, where it's like I did this, and it just increases.
Mm-hmm.
So the music is different, and I really enjoy it.
They definitely gave us some answers.
Yeah.
To theories.
Or did they?
They did.
They did.
Yeah,
they did. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Some people like they revealed it too early. Did they though? When did they reveal Agatha? Know? Did they when did they reveal Agatha in WandaVision? Wasn't it like episode 5 as well?
I think so.
It was like right after mid-season, or mid-episode, you get an answer. What do you want, people?
Yeah. This episode was the better of it than the last 2. The last 2 were good and they were story building, nothing wrong with them, but this was a much better episode and a good cliffhanger episode. So we'll get more on it as we come along, but yeah, I'll agree with Mizzy. It was a good episode.
Nestor?
So I've been catching up on one of my guilty pleasures, which is Mountain Monsters. I love cryptids. I love all that like shenanigans of Wendigos and the skinwalkers and all that, and mountain monsters, a bunch of hillbillies running around Appalachia, just hunting mountain monsters. It's just hilarious. So this week I finished all 5 seasons of it on Max. I'll just leave it playing and I will paint to it. Or I'll print, and like people are like, how are you printing, painting, and listening and to this and listening to a podcast? Dude, I have ADHD. Leave it alone. Don't talk to me.
It's called being neurospicy, okay? Leave us alone.
Like I need to get everything. I need to be like
Stimulation.
I'll have like the Two Towers movie, the audiobook playing as I'm painting, and Mountain Monsters playing in the background, and then printing something else. Anyway, so Mountain Monsters, is it real? Don't know, don't care. It's one of my guilty pleasures where I just will let it play throughout the time. But I've seen all the episodes, I can say that now, or heard all the episodes. The traps they'll come up with is like a big boy version of Mousetrap. They're trying to catch like Bigfoot, and they have like a trap where if the Bigfoot grabs the meat, it'll lock the cage on both sides. And anyway, Ace Harpies, it's 3. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's cheesy as hell. But if you like cryptids or you like that monster lore version, where you just want something to laugh at and have a good time, go for it.
Nice.
My next one is Vox Machina is back, the new season 3. And they're releasing 3 episodes at a time. So last week they got 3, and this week we got 3. To me, Vox Machina has always been a hit or miss. The first season was pretty decent, although it was kind of cringy at times because of all of the, out of character stuff that just would happen, and the over sexualization and over, BS of it. And 2 was just meh, and 3 so far has just been eh. Although it is less cringy and less out of character stuff now this time around, and we're getting more story, which is good. So I'm definitely enjoying this one better than the rest. There's people asking me, what do they really think, and I'm like, if you want a good fantasy cartoon with good stuff that isn't like throwing you out of character all the time, watch Dragon Age Absolution. It's very, very good and very solid. If you don't mind a stupid, dirty joke or using, modern, jokes in a fantasy setting, you'll like Vox Machina still. But, it was just there. It's okay. It's not great. But if you want something better, Dragon Age Absolution cartoon, watch it. So right now it's just getting me my 2.5 meh of the season so far.
I've seen the first 2 seasons of Vox Machina. I like watching it. I like Percy because he's actually one of my favorite characters. But I love Vax, the female backup. But like I've not watched Critical Role. I haven't heard Critical Role, like the podcast, or watched the show, and not for me. I don't like that.
I don't like watching D&D. I'd rather be in it.
I'd rather play it. Exactly. But will I watch it? Probably when all of them are out. I'll binge it on a weekend.
Mizzy?
I've got kind of a meh one too. I tried to, and I got through 2 episodes of Grotesquerie. It's horror fiction. It's by one of the guys that does American Horror Story. So I was like, okay, yeah, I enjoyed that. I liked it. Whole thing. I'm just kind of meh about it. I'm not too it's just meh. The story is just kind of there. Like it's kind of it's got gross stuff in it, but it's kind of there and meh. So
is that the one with Travis Kelce?
Yeah. I haven't got to any episodes with him in it. Like I said, only 2 episodes. I might watch it. I might not. And that's it.
What would you rate it?
2.5 meh. Bordering 3. Because meh.
Meh.
I've got better things to watch with my limited time and energy. Nestor?
Is the spooky season, as I keep saying.
Is the spooky season.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Part 2. I wish I could get my hour and a half back. I mean, it's horror Winnie the Pooh. So, like, think about Tigger being a anamorphic murdering monster. Like, it's scary. Like, the way they made Tigger and Owl and Piglet look and Winnie the Pooh. And the story that Christopher Robinson, had a twin brother who was kidnapped and turned into an anamorphic bear. It gets really weird, very deadly, very cringy. Like, oh my god, why are you doing this? But no story. The story is lacking. It's kind of like you're retconning the first one. The special effects, if you've seen the first one, the second one is way better. I give it a 3. It's not bad. It's one of those, like, what do I want to play in the background type of scenarios. Don't take it seriously. Just watch it. If you don't watch it, you're not breaking my heart. Like, like I had a friend. She told me she saw it, and I was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, you better be. Like,
The next one I watched was called Chef's Table's Noodles, and it's a show about 4 different chefs and about how they make noodles and their journey of making noodles in their life. Like, one guy is an American chef and learned how to make it from the old ladies in Italy and stuff like that. And it's just about these people, about how their cooking of noodles affects everything within their life and their style, and what they do with it, how they do it, and stuff. So it's a nice little, chill, relax. You can hang out and do nothing with it type thing. Not, it's a documentary. It was not done bad or anything. Just it's a little cooking show, and it takes some of the roots of, this is how they did it back, 9 million BC, that type of thing. And we're still carrying the tradition, and we don't use a machine to knead our dough. We have to do everything by hand, and, that type of thing. But it was interesting. It was fun. No problems. Can't really rate it since it's a documentary. It wasn't a bad documentary, so a 0. Mizzy?
I binge watched the entirety of Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft on Netflix this weekend. It was really fun. Obviously based on the video game from the 90s, something like that.
I think so.
It's got a really good story. It addresses, even though it's animated, it addresses some really in-depth topics. Grief, trauma, processing. That whole thing, and Lara Croft just being a badass.
Lara Croft is always a badass. Like,
Dommy mommy, please step on me. Yes.
Yeah. No, she's like, my experience with Lara Croft is like the first Tomb Raider video game, and which is very polygon, whatever. But then when they remade it for PlayStation 3, Gonzo, or 4, I can't remember what the remake. Where phenomenal games in general. So, and it beats the movies, and then the anime looks really good as well. So it's very tempting.
Yes.
It reminded me of Saturday morning cartoon style animation.
Yeah. I'd give it a 1. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I binge watched it.
And they said that's one of the things. You can binge watch this and not feel like you've watched 19 hours of a show, and it's not draining.
Yeah.
I like that. That's probably after this. I'm probably gonna end up watching that because
Do it.
I was gonna pick up Marla, but she's coming from Portugal, but she's gonna take a lift. So did you
Nestor?
guys know that she moved to New York?
Yeah,
I saw that. Yes, I'm so excited.
She got the job. So I was like, you should apply for New York. And she's like, you think I was like, who cares? Just apply. What do you get? Nothing.
yeah.
You don't need anything. She got the job, so she's been working in New York for a month.
I love it.
So not spooky, still cringy. The Menendez brothers on Netflix.
I've been
not the
seeing
murder,
that.
not the miniseries, not the one that's from the guys that gave you Dahmer, but the actual biography that the Menendez brothers basically are talking about their case. I didn't know about their case growing up. It was around the time of OJ, so I didn't care about a murder that happened in Beverly Hills because I lived in New York, and then OJ overlapped everything.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to believe their story or not to believe their story, but the fact that the way they killed their parents, wow. Like I did see the miniseries that from the guys that did Dahmer, and you're just like, wow, like that is insane. It's informative. It's a good watch if you're into that crime docu-series type of event. I'd give it a 1. It's actually very informative because there's no bias in the story. For a documentary, sometimes they'll go one way more than the other. But this one was like, here's what happened. Here's what happened with the trial. Here's what happened with the brothers. Here's what happened with the results. And then the second trial, and then this is their part of the story. Like you get the prosecutor side, the defense attorney side, the brothers side, the story, everything. So it's a 1. It's a good little, like, I'm making a steak. Let's hear this in the background.
I don't have the book because someone else has the book right now, but I've been reading the Break RPG book. From they know, Break is a Kickstarter that I kickstarted, and it's an RPG, pretty much all the cliches of animes. And it's a role playing game. And it's a very simple. It's roll a d20. That's all you do in the entire game to hit and do stuff. Damage is a set amount, so you don't have to roll to see how much damage you do. But if I were to say what this was a combination of, it would be Delicious in Dungeon meets Record of Lotus Wars meets pretty much any superpower girl anime, like Sailor Moon type stuff or whatever.
Like Project Echo.
Yeah. Big Eye Small Mouth. Yeah, no, it is not Big Eye Small Mouth, but it is very much in that genre. It's all fantasy based. They have your typical give a cat girl, elf, dwarf, chibi, android, human from our world. What else is there? Goblins, troll-looking creatures.
I like the battle princesses.
Yeah, and then the classes are like battle princess, which is like to be a She-Ra type thing, or the power of love compels her to do all of her stuff. And then you got the murder princesses, which
that's the one. Hi, it's me.
You got like a rogue type, a scout type. You also have somebody that really does hardly any combat at all because they have a oversized large backpack that they can pull almost anything out of. And like most monsters don't pay attention to them because they don't consider them, dangerous until they do something. Then you've got like a sage, it's a witch, and all this other stuff. But it's very, very, very much pure anime. And I'm enjoying it, reading it. I'm going to run an online version of it, probably just like a 5-part series, just to do something fun. And I'm going to call it Culinary in the Catacombs. and yes, it's going to be a humor light type anime, just to be fun type thing. But it is it's actually not a bad RPG. Pretty much you roll a d20, you roll under certain scores, you get it. They tell you that if you're not under pressure, you pass type thing. If there's nothing that's pressuring you, you just pass it. I need to smash on this door. Are you being pressured? Or is it a magical lock? No, it's just a regular door. You smash it. That type of thing. So it's meant to be just quick little fun stuff. I could see this being played at a convention one shots easily type thing. The rules are not hard. Character sheets are easy, but I haven't finished reading the whole entire thing. I've gotten through a decent amount of it, but someone wanted to borrow it. And they have
why you're looking at me? I do not know why you're looking at me. Just because it's in my house does not mean that I'm the one reading it. Thank you.
But it's over there, and so we'll get to it in a minute. But it's been a fun little read. I enjoyed it. Mizzy, you got anything?
We've been watching Chaos on Netflix. Greek mythology. Goddamn.
Which has already been canceled.
Is that with Jeff Goldblum?
Yes.
Yes.
I was
Jeff
wondering
Goldblum as Zeus. Yes.
I was wondering about that.
I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm gonna keep watching it. I think we're only like 2-3 episodes in. Yeah. It's come highly recommended by some other friends, and it's Greek mythology, so my TV watching buddy is all for it.
That's two series already that I need to add to watch.
You're welcome.
Yeah. They did say it got canceled. There will not be a season 2 of it. It's already been canceled.
Oh no.
Fine.
If they must. Yeah, I've seen some previews on TikTok of Jeff Goldblum as Zeus, and I'm like,
I will warn you. Hera is a fucking bitch, and
Hera was supposed to be a bitch.
She does fucked up things. Okay.
Have you read the Greek mythology?
I know enough.
No,
I'm not the expert, but I know enough. Okay. All of the Greek gods are fucked.
If they made her a nice person, I'd be like, this is not right at all. Like, she's not.
You will be very satisfied with the amount of cunty that she is.
Perfect. The last thing I've been reading, speaking of Kickstarters, was the Nimble 5e Kickstarter, which is a twist on the 5e mechanic in terms it's made to make it much faster. Where you don't roll to hit. I don't know what it is, but I love that mechanic. You don't roll a d20 to hit. You just roll the damage dice. Say an axe is 2d6. If you roll a 1 on the damage die, you miss. But if your damage die rolls a 6, it's a critical, you have exploding 6s. So it's made to make 5e kind of like action movie oriented. So if you want to run a 5e adventure, kind of like a Michael Bay film where there is no story and there's just a lot of action, you can do that with Nimble 5e. And it just came out of Kickstarter. And it's like $90 for like all 3 books and the hardcover and the PDF or the softcover and PDF. Anyway, probably get that. You run simple games real soon. Be fun to do.
All right. Well, guys, that is pretty much our episode. We appreciate Nestor for coming on talking about Steel Rift. Perks of it can be pretty cheap. Miniature agnostic. Played on a 3x3. And quick and easy rule set.
Yep.
So, and like I says, if you're going to be at Warfare Weekend, you'll find me and Mizzy there. If you're going to be at Adepticon, you'll see all 3 of us there. So, guys,
and
nerd. So, guys, please take care of yourself. Please look after each other. We got a lot of weird shit going on in the world, and we got to make sure we look after each other and our friends. So, please, please, please do that. For More Than Dice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm Mizzy.
I'm Nessie.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks for listening to More Than Dice, making the world a better, nerdier place, one dumb joke at a time. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. For more nerdy action or to connect with your hosts, check them out on Facebook.com/morethandice and Twitch.tv/more_than_dice. Until next time, stay nerdy, stay proud, and we'll see you soon on the More Than Dice podcast.